first off, congratulations. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful and vulnerable and important film that y'all have created. Story and your performance are still sitting with me. And in my opinion, the best films are those that create conversations. So thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for enjoying it the way you enjoyed it. That was our goal. So I'm glad. Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, absolutely. I heard in a recent interview, you said elegance gave you the opportunity to be the actress that you never allowed yourself to be. Now that you've gifted yourself and us with your stunning work on this project, how has your perspective, your creative perspective changed? Like, or your perspective of creative possibilities? How has that changed?
I mean, it's funny because right after we wrapped, I told my team, I was like, I only want to do comedies in 2022. So please only send me comedies. Like I can't stay in this darkness. And then of course in 2022, they're like, I know you asked for comedies, but we have this opportunity on Truth Be Told season 3 for you and Octavia to reunite. Um,
Mm,
but the material is pretty dark.
yeah.
And when I read it and I heard their pitch, I was like, I know I really wanted to be more entertaining and create more chuckles, but I think my soul needed to keep going. And so creatively, I've tried to be more open to the kinds of roles that scare me
Mm,
or where you're already thinking about how much therapy you're going to need afterwards and how much just how much work is going to go into finding the character's truth and staying there and not trying to make them likable, you know.
mm, yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about finding the truth with Inez, because I kept thinking about how the most powerful thing we can do for ourselves is allowing ourselves to grow, if that makes sense. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Inez never gives herself that opportunity. And it hardens her, it blocks her from experiencing love. Can you talk me through the emotional toll on finding her hardness, but also discovering the empathy through that hardness?
Well, it started with asking myself, what does she want? What does she want? And then I had to go back a little earlier, pre-child.
Mm,
Now she was a teen mom, so
yeah.
I mean, she was a child having a child, but what did she want? What were her dreams? And she wanted everything that you're supposed to be entitled to when you're a good student. You follow the rules, you do everything they tell you to, you completely assimilated, you try to separate yourself and be special in all the ways that society tells you that, especially for people of color and Black women in particular. Um, and she wanted that. She followed all the rules. She did all the things. She was, top of her class. I want the American dream.
Yeah.
Um, and then is pregnant as a teen and makes the choice to keep her child. And in staying in this assimilation, a lot of people, when they feel like they've fallen off the path, and I should use my finger quotes here, um, they lean heavier into organized religion
Mm-hmm.
to make them whole again, to feel whole and to be seen as good and worthy and deserving of the dream, right? The milk and honey, the land of opportunity. And in making that choice and having French, and as French revealed his identity, it ran counter to what she thought made her good.
Oh,
And she felt like the way to protect him, the way to um, insulate him, the way to save him was by rejecting him, was by being the one who harms him the most to
oh,
get him to change right? And be the son that she gave birth to, that she had all these dreams for. And then when those plans didn't work, she felt like she had to save herself. And in saving herself and in saving her American dream, she bartered with her child.
Yeah.
And what was dark, I think, is that I realized that while I've never bartered with my child, I've never felt that my children were disposable in that way. I have absolutely felt like my soul was disposable, my scruples, my values, relationships, friendships. For many years, I didn't smile with my upper lip because I thought it made me too black.
Mm.
Like no one noticed that when I walked through the door. Um, you sacrifice language. You sacrifice thinking of yourself in the highest of terms and thinking of people who look like you in the highest of terms, because we are drilled into believing as marginalized people in this country that if you don't completely assimilate into a cisgendered heteronormative, as close to the Eurocentric ideal of all things, you are not worthy. You are not deserving. You're not one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And in search of being one of the good ones, you leave a lot behind and you make these soul sacrifices. And that's dark to really come to terms with. And I'd never come to terms with all that I had lost and I had bartered with, that I will never get back, in search of. And that's where I met her in the middle.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. It sounds like it was a very healing, hard but healing journey to step into her shoes. And like I said, the best films are those that start these conversations that make us look inward when maybe we don't want to, and be reflective and help us grow. Wow. I also couldn't help but think about sort of the identity of strength when I was watching this film. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional, physical, obviously, and all the ways in which our society has mislabeled weakness for strength or strength for weakness.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, how does this film explore mostly and most importantly, strength and vulnerability?
We prioritize um, masculinity. We prioritize what we would now call toxic masculinity, misogyny. We reward that, and the most demonstratively misogynistic men we consider strong,
Mm.
leaders, deserving, handsome. We center their needs in all things.
Mm.
And throughout this movie, he's trying to show his mother that he is a quote unquote real man, that he is worthy and deserving, that he is strong, that he is capable, and that notion is tested every day of boot camp. His masculinity, his version of masculinity, his version of being strong. Um, all of the young men that were in boot camp, all of their ideas about what equals strength, what equals a good teammate, what equals a good platoon mate, all of their preconceived notions were tested. And the notion that being vulnerable and being open can actually be your superpower.
Mm.
That we explored all of that. Um, yeah, and I hope it challenges the audience to re-examine what it is to be masculine, and is there space and room for all different types of expression of being a real man. Can we have space for all identities to be strong and vulnerable and good and knowledgeable and worthy? Because there actually is space for all of that. We just don't believe that there is.
Yeah. Well, that's why storytelling is so important. And now more than ever. And I'm so grateful for this film. So thank you so much. That's my time. This has
No,
been such an
thank you.
honor. Thank you.